Welcome back to the first game of EP Damascus, and here we have ALittleBlank versus Mako. Mako is running the deck that Saki ran last GP, the 5-color Lone Survivor deck that's looking to use cards like Thriving Budling and Our Humble Apprentice to get 5-color ramp into some pretty good top end. And Mako seems to have drawn, well, they mulligan and now they've got a 1-lander, so they're forced to mulligan again. At least they get a good look at what 8 bears the deck has access to. Okay, so now they have a 5-land hand, or they're gonna probably keep the 5-card hand, and then they have turn 2 L, turn 3 Lone Survivor. A bit too fair, but still, they're gonna have to take what they can get. Meanwhile, ALittleBlank's on. Well, if you saw us during the deck list stream, we don't really have a good idea of what their deck is trying to do, but definitely seems like they're trying to do something. And definitely something pretty spicy too. So since this is going to be the first game I see of this deck, hopefully it has a good showing and we get to learn what their deck does. But mostly seems to rely on Twist the Threads, which allows you to exchange a creature that you both own and control with a creature in your hand. And also it's Lysandra, Leyline Trickster, and I think that's probably the main core of the deck. Well, and no point in speculating, we're just gonna have to see how ALittleBlank plays this. And Mako draws a turn 1 mana dork, so yeah, they're definitely quite happy about that. Now they can turn to the Lone Survivor, and ALittleBlank's probably in trouble if that happens because they're a pretty non-creature heavy deck. So yeah, turn 1 Osk comes down as a mana dork and threatening the turn 2 Lone Survivor. ALittleBlank notably decided to play Island or Forest on turn 1, so they're not going to flash out Panya on turn 1, even though they could have. Maybe they're keeping the Panya for the event. I mean, wait, no, it's not Adventure, it's a Tail. So yeah, I don't think there was any point in leading off on Forest instead of Island because they could have turn 1 to Panya. Mako decides to not drop their turn to Lone Survivor. They're going to L instead. Okay, that's definitely wrong, right? Yeah, they definitely should be trying to drop the turn 2 Lone Survivor. Especially since ALittleBlank's deck doesn't really have any counter spells, I think. Let me double check. Yeah, they don't have any counter spells main, so I don't think there was any point in waiting to drop the Lone Survivor or after the L. They should have just played Lone Survivor on turn 2. And like they decided to play their fetch land tapped. I don't think life really matters in this matchup, right? Or I guess we don't really know what ALittleBlank's deck does, but you didn't even have to play your shock fetch there. You could just play a basic land or a Wayfarer Shrine and drop your Lone Survivor. Playing a deck in a really weird way. I guess they're unfamiliar with it, but playing in a way that kind of defies just normal heuristics. I mean, last GP they were playing a Minister deck, which was a way harder deck, without even looking at how the deck works. And like in the one game where they actually got to play with Minister, as in like cast a card and not die before it resolves, they definitely did not take advantage of that card. So maybe something similar is happening here, where they just don't really know how to play the deck. Well, anyways, ALittleBlank decides to, what did they do anyways? Yeah, right, they recall Forgotten Aeons, so they drew a card, or they drew 2 cards and got to play an extra land, and after that they played Fennec Farstrider's Adventure, which allows them to, and what did they hit off the Adventure? Oh, they managed to hit 2 things off it. Okay, yeah, that's really good. Then it becomes a 2-mana draw 2. So now Mako's definitely dropping a Lone Survivor here, right? Like they have no other option to. If Mako dropped Lone Survivor last turn, all ALittleBlank could have done was recall Forgotten Aeons. So dropping it or delaying Lone Survivor by a turn probably had a really big effect on the game, honestly. ALittleBlank untaps, draws Forest. So they have plenty of mana right now. Now it's time to see what they can do. I'm assuming they're getting ready to drop down Lysandra. Or maybe they're just going to beckon for something. Yeah, okay, so they're going to play down Fennec Farstrider and pass. I guess they find to flash in Panya end of turn. There's something interesting you can do with Fennec Farstrider plus Panya is that you can use Fennec to recast Panya and reset its tail, so you can cast its extra turn spell again. And Mako draws Fog Spewer. So also a really good card here because you keep taxing the non-creature based deck. I think right now they probably just want to transform L. Yeah. Now it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do with L. They can -2 to fetch the Grand Submerge, which will get them a bunch of value, but then they don't really do anything for a turn. You can +1 to draw a card and draw 2 cards and discard a land, which both puts Valeria out of range of attacks, and okay, yeah, but yeah, they're going to do that. So now they can, they can't really, Drying Building Augmented isn't active right now because Mako used 5 colors of mana on an activated ability instead of a spell. Mako can Doban's Masterwork, primal it. Okay, now ALittleBlank's actually doing stuff. They're going to twist the threads and get Lysandra out. But what that actually did was mostly just blank an attack and gets Lysandra onto the board. Mako's going to pass without really doing much. And ALittleBlank draws another twist of threads. Okay, so I think now we're going to see what ALittleBlank's deck actually does. I'm assuming they're going to play Fennec Farstrider and use Lysandra to fetch Fulfill Twisted Dreams, maybe? I guess they can also recast the adventure of Fennec Farstrider. Not sure what exactly they're getting out of it, though. Okay, so they're going to play another Mana Ascetic, and right, that allows them to fetch another Twisted Threads. No, I see the combo here, so if you have 1 drop on the board and 1 drop in the hand, you can just and a Lysandra in play, you can just keep twisting the threads. Those things to fetch out of the twist threads out of your deck, and they flashbacks so they go into your yards where you can recast them. I'm not sure how good that actually is, but okay. So they're gonna Fennec Farstrider using the adventure to. Or is that what they did? Yeah, and they get to get 1 card off of it. Then they end the turn. I'm assuming ALittleBlank's planning to flash and Panya at some point and get another twist of threads. Meanwhile, all that Mako can really do is, well, they can play down more hate bears. And they also drew another L, so they're going to they're going to -2 the L and then fetch their Submerge, I guess. That's probably the top end they're looking for. They might fetch Maelstrom Elemental too, to put some pressure on ALittleBlank. Yeah, they're going to get Maelstrom Elemental. I guess there wasn't really anything good to get back with Submerge in the graveyard just yet, so they'd rather not risk whiffing in the top 5 with Submerge. They're just going to take the guaranteed 7 hasted damage. The problem right now is that Maelstrom Elemental doesn't have trample, so ALittleBlank can just block and then twist the threads and then blank and attack, and they can just keep doing that for a while. Honestly, Mako might have been better served just -4ing the Valeria to get rid of the Lysandra. Well, no, that doesn't work because ALittleBlank can just twist the threads. Or can they? Yeah, they can. They have Fennec Farstrider. So you can't target Lysandra with a removal spell because then ALittleBlank just twists the threads and lets it dodge the removal. Anyways, Mako's putting up a really threatening board right now. And ALittleBlank decides to take all of that. So ALittleBlank needs to find some way to turn the game this turn or else they're just going to lose. And then turn Thriving Building gets 3 counters because Mako spent all 5 colors of mana on a Maelstrom Elemental. ALittleBlank draws another Fennec Farstrider. So do they have an out? I mean, at this point, I don't really know because, again, I don't really know what their deck does. Worst case scenario, they can. Well, no, they can't because they're being taxed for 1. If they flashed in Panya at the end of last turn, they could have used the Panya tail to take an extra turn. I guess they'd rather keep Panya in hand for Twisted Threads on the Mana Ascetics. I feel like that play might have costed them the game. They had enough mana to flash in Panya at the end of the turn, right? I'm pretty sure they did. The Fennec Farstrider comes down, and ALittleBlank's searching for. Okay, they get Fulfill Twisted Dreams. I don't think they can cast it though. Yeah, they needed to draw land there in order to cast it. Maybe they should have just Panya tailed there. An extra draw step, or they're going to pass, so I'm assuming they have a plan to not die this turn. I guess they can just chomp. It's not like Mako can really, well, Mako can you have the mana to play and transform a layer in the same turn? Okay, yeah, they do, right? Yeah, they do. So Mako can play L, transform it, and then -4 to kill one of ALittleBlank's things. Mako's just going to -2 Valeria to find something else. Guess they can just fetch another Maelstrom Elemental if they really want to. Or they can fetch another Lone Survivor and axe ALittleBlank to, or yeah, Summon Guardian. That also works. Just keep up the tax. Prevent ALittleBlank from really doing anything. And I don't think ALittleBlank's deck had any way to deal with creatures that are already on the board, right? Well, they have stuff in the sideboard. And so Maelstrom Elemental gets Mako a card and a free cast. They're gonna cast Fog Spirit and it just adds salt to the wound. Now all non-creature spells cost 4 more to cast. I don't think ALittleBlank can pay that tax. Or actually, can they? No, they can't. You can't even twist the threads at this point. They cost too much. I think the game's pretty locked down for Mako here. I don't see how ALittleBlank gets out of this. ALittleBlank's still thinking. Do they have a plan to get out of this? No, right? All their spells cost way too much to do anything. If they really wanted to do something, they should have done it before Summon Guardian resolved. They're going to flash and Panya. I mean, I guess, sure. And Trumpet? Oh no, they're gonna fetch Twist the Threads off Lysandra. And now I guess they chump to survive. They're still in pretty bad position just because they everything costs too much. Okay, yeah, they're chumping to preserve life. Right. Okay, so I guess that's a trick you can do. You can use Fennec Farstrider to recast your Panyas at instant speed, and then if they're blocking something, then you can blank an attacker and still stays alive. Yeah, maybe not the worst thing in the world. Fennec Farstrider is finally dead now. I guess if ALittleBlank top second land, they can cast Panya Tail, and then get another turn to find something. I guess Fulfill already gets them there, right? Like Fulfill costs 4, so it costs 8. Or okay, never mind. Fulfill isn't really helpful at all. Okay, Mako plays a Thriving Budling, gets a draw off Maelstrom Elemental, and the Budling gets more counters because they cast the Guardian for all 5 colors. So ALittleBlank's in pretty big trouble. I don't really see how to get out of it. Well, I said that the same thing last turn, but I mean they can keep chump blocking, but they're not winning at this rate. Okay, they do top deck Galant, so yeah, they get to use Panya Tail. They get some another draw step. I guess Back in the Wilds is there to fetch off Lysandra. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, the sideboard makes a bit more sense. Because all the mana spells are there so they can fetch them off Lysandra on a 1-drop. They're going, ALittleBlank's going to fulfill Twisted Dreams for full amount. I wonder why they're doing it. Are they just doing it to fill the graveyard? Or, okay, right, never mind, you get 1 extra mana from doing that. And I'm gonna try to I don't think they have the mana to coalesce it, right? But do they? 7, so 11 mana to... Yeah, they only have 10 mana in total, so they can't coalesce it. ALittleBlank just concedes. Yeah, they realize that they're not getting out of that. So looking at sideboarding, I already mentioned that ALittleBlank's sideboard is a bit weird. What with all the Spell Pierce and Soul Pierces. But yeah, it makes more sense now that I realize that it's there so that they can fetch it off Lysandra when they play a 1-drop. And I guess they probably want to bring in some Soul Pierces and Basie's Brew to kill the creatures, but other than that, they don't really have anything good. And meanwhile, Mako's definitely bringing in more Hate Bears. So, bring the Summit Guardians. Hate Money Monarch, is that good? I don't know, but a Summit Guardian, and then probably also Brood and Helen Depths here because they both kill the stuff on ALittleBlank's board, and they're good even if ALittleBlank uses a trick to protect the creatures. But so coming back for game 2, Mako gets a hand that has a land in Mad Dork. I don't think they're gonna risk that. ALittleBlank gets a hand that doesn't really do much. Well, you can try to get the turn through Recall Forgotten Aeon, so yeah, they're probably keeping that. They like to bomb the Redundant Fulfill Twisted Dreams, and yeah, they're gonna turn 1 pull up Soul Pierce. So, Mako getting one of their mana dorks countered would have been devastating if they didn't just draw another one. So yeah, they're going to play their mana dork, and ALittleBlank's definitely going to still pierce it. So if Mako doesn't draw a land next turn, then they're still kind of, they're still pretty kind of behind because they're forced to play their mana dork again that turn. ALittleBlank decides to keep Zera in hand. I guess I'm still not sure what Zera's for. I guess it's sort of a combo piece with Coalesce the Revelations. If you coalesce them from the yard, triggers Zera, but that's the only thing that triggers it in that deck. So funnily enough, the Bond's Masterworks Primal is active this turn because Mako missed a land drop. So they can play the Bond's Masterwork, exiling Osk and a green card from their hand. Probably the second Bond's Masterwork. Yeah, so that they can get a land drop this turn. Or I guess get their land drop by returning Wayfarer's Shrine. Usually when you're reappropriating, you really want to be exiling everything from your graveyard. But if you're desperate enough, you can also reappropriate cards from your hand. ALittleBlank really hoping to top deck a land so that they can go for a turn 3 Recall Forgotten Eons. They don't get the land, so yeah, now they're extremely sad. And Mako gets to drop Fog Spear now, and I think that probably locks ALittleBlank out of the game. They need to top deck a land so that they can Bessie's Brood Fog Spear, or else they're just locked out. And okay, Mako draws L. They're at 3 mana right now. They probably want to play L. Or yeah, they can play L, get a basic, and then play Fog Spear after that. And that's a really good turn for them. And yeah, Fog Spear comes down. So if ALittleBlank draws a land next turn, they still can't recall Forgotten Eons. So drawing Island would be really bad here for ALittleBlank. Well, not drawing a land would be the worst, but drawing Island is also quite bad. Okay, drawing Fang Fire Strider is also really bad because with Fog Spear in play, they can't cast Adventure Side. So yeah, ALittleBlank has to pass the turn again. ALittleBlank, yeah, just concedes there. I'm unfortunate that they didn't draw any lands. And we still didn't get to really see what ALittleBlank's deck does. They sort of just got hated out both games. But yeah, maybe they'll get better luck next round and we'll actually see what their deck does.